Hello there and welcome to Donington Park here in the East Midlands for the penultimate rounds of the Dunlop VAG Trophy and the Dunlop Mark II Golf GTI Championship. Now the battle at the front is really hotting up. It's all to play for. We have dry, sunny conditions as the VAG Trophy contenders line up here on the grid. Harry Volkard leads Class A going into this one, and Darren Bedford is the man to beat in Class B. There's plenty to play for. We should be in for a great race around this Grand Prix circuit.
Thanks, Diana. So it's the results of Race 1 that form the grid for Race 2, and therefore Stuart Lyons, Harry Volkard share the front row from Ken Lark and David Fairbrother. 8th on the grid is the custom code-back car of Darren Bedford. He is to the fore of Class B ahead of Mike Smith and James Dowding. As ever in the Dunlop VAG Trophy, an absolutely huge field of cars completed by Mike Harding and Christy Duran. It's going to be an absolutely super race. Revs rise, lights out, and away we go. It's a great start from the black Golf for Volkard, who rockets away from the line. Also a good getaway from Tim Mull as well in the Mark 1 Golf. As they head down to Redgate for the first time, it's Volkard who leads the way. Then Lyons disputes second place with David Fairbrother and Ken Lark as they turn through the tight right-hander before swooping downhill through Hollywood. The little Golf of Tim Mull, a little bit sideways in the midfield as they swoop then down through the Craner curves. It's Lyons in second place in pursuit of the race leader Volkard. There is the custom code car of Darren Bedford to the fore of Class B, although he's got the blue machine of Mike Smith trying to bear down onto his tail. Tiptoe through the old hairpin and then sprint on towards Schwantz Curve, climbing uphill the while in towards McLean's. There's Richard Morgan. Expect to see him coming on strong later in the race, and he's well positioned early on in 5th place, just ahead of Darren Bedford. Bedford has had pace all season, been unlucky with reliability. He'll be hoping for another good result in this second race of the weekend, as behind plenty of jostling position, as you'd expect in the early stages, as they accelerate out of Coppice and down the back straight for the first time. As Diana said in the introduction, we're running on the full Grand Prix circuit this weekend, so it's the flip-flop through the Fogarty-S's and then on towards the Melbourne hairpin. Some great battles of position a little bit further down the order, and also super to see some of the Class B cars really mixing it towards the front of the field. This is the fight for 4th then. The immaculate Scirocco of David Fairbrother, number 9, ahead of the silver Corrado of Ken Lark, and Lark looking one side then the other as he looks to challenge now with the inside David Fairbrother as they arrive into Goddard's and sliding through Ken Lark. Lovely move that from Lark. He picks up the pace nice and early, accelerating off in pursuit then of the race leader Harry Volkard, then Stuart Lyons, then it's Ken Lark, David Fairbrother and Richard Morgan in 5th position. Someone behind going all sideways through Redgate then, and the road plummets downhill thereafter. Really enjoyable sequence to circuit. Jason Tingle looks to recover. Problems for Jason in race 1. He didn't make it to the checkered flag, and he would appear to a little bit clear around him this time around. Some super scraps throughout the field as Chris Mohan heads this particular tussle. So well in the mix, we have got Chris Adams in the white car looking to try and make a little bit of progress as they climb uphill through Schwantz Curve. Also James Dowding has always been at the front of Class B. Rob Allen, 4th car in that scrap. These drivers, perennial competitors in the Dunlop VAG Trophy, all very fine drivers. Pick up the pace then out to Coppice, along what feels like never-ending back straight to ripples in the road as well. You've got to get the braking point for the Fogarty-S is absolutely spot on. While the leading trio all seem to be closing up on each other a little bit, because the ex-sidecar motocross racer, Stuart Lyons, tells you how brave he is appearing to get onto terms with those in front. Meanwhile, the obligatory Donington Park 40S shot of corner markers everywhere, gravel across the road. There is our Class B leader, Darren Bedford. He's just been demoted by Nick Sanderson. Bedford still to the fore in Class B, as well ahead of Mike Smith and Chris Adams. Back then to the leading trio, down through the Craner curves they come. And Stuart Lyons beginning to turn up the heat on to the ex-World Touring Car Championship racer, Harry Volkard. Volkard, who's been right at the front of the VAG Trophy and Mark II Golf GTI Championship all season. Meanwhile, Chris Mohan and Chris Adams criss-cross en route towards Redgate Corner. It's Adams who moves clear of Mohan. Rob Allam then taking his turn to try and mount a challenge as well. They've lost touch a little bit with James Dowding. Towards the old hairpin. Treacherous corner in the wet, tricky corner in the dry. It's Nigel Mansell, of course, with the test tube going back 21 or so years ago. As the pace gets picked up. Meanwhile, we return to the fight for the lead, and a very nice tussle it is too, because Volkard, try as he might, is beginning to find himself being reeled in his Mark V Golf by the Scirocco of Stuart Lyons. Meanwhile, super move there into McLean's from Rob Allam. He saw the space to the inside using all the curb on the exit. Chris Mohan looks to fight back. Sanderson scrabbles for room through the Fogarty S's en route to the Melbourne hairpin. They are chasing down the car of Len Simpson. Len, another perennial competitor in his Vento. He's got Tim Moll drawing alongside him as they sprint out of the Melbourne hairpin on towards Goddard's. Meanwhile, the three leaders are really closed up, haven't they? Because you can see Ken Lark mounting the pressure on Harry Volkard as we turn through Redgate Corner, and Volkard on three wheels, out over the curb. Oh, the car snaps sideways, and off goes the race leader Volkard. That's going to promote Stuart Lyons to the advantage. Disaster for Volkard, and late on as well. He's not going to have many laps with which to recover his position. Well, fortunately, there's nothing solid to hit on that part of the circuit, so he rejoins the fray. A lot to do as Sanderson moves clear of Len Simpson. I'm sure there was a slight issue there for Len. Sanderson having a good race. He's really progressing up strongly through the pack. On towards the Fogarty S's then for the final time of asking, and this is still far from settled because Stuart Lyons has got Ken Lark breathing down his neck. Lyons picks up the pace then coming out of the Fogarty S's on towards the Melbourne hairpin. Don't think Ken Lark is quite close enough to challenge. Might snatch the brakes there from Lyons as charging Richard Morgan loses it and pirouettes into the gravel trap. Disaster for Richard Morgan. He was en route there for fourth position by my reckoning. Unfortunately, he is out with just 2 corners remaining. No such concerns though for Stuart Lyons. He does the Donington Park double in the Dunlop VAG Trophy with Ken Lark, an excellent second place. Third going to Harry Volkard. And in Class B, it's been Darren Bedford who has been our lights to flag leader, and he looks like he is going to be a double winner as well at Donington this weekend. Very neatly prepared Custom Code car turns through Goddard's, accelerates through towards the checkered flag, and that, by the standards of the ultra competitive Class B, is a big victory for Darren Bedford. He takes it. There is runner-up in class Mike Smith just in the background. Another very solid performance from Mike. So let's have a look then at the final results, with victory for Stuart Lyons, second place to Ken Lark, and Harry Volkard completes the rostrum. Our top 3 in Class B, 8th, 9th and 10th overall, Darren Bedford from Mike Smith and Chris Adams, who prevailed through an excellent scrap. James Dowding then in 11th from Rob Allam. Only a couple of casualties along the way. Unfortunately, Jason Tingle was one of them. 2 DNS for Jason in the Dunlop VAG Trophy this weekend. So on to the sun-drenched Donington Park podium. Joe East from MCR doing the honours, dispensing the bubbly. Sorted friends, family and well-wishers, rightly applauding the drivers.
Last lap, I thought I was going to have a go anyway. I thought it's going to be tight, and then he did it all for me. So when he went off, because Harry Volkard doesn't make many mistakes, as we know, and it was I did have a little smile to myself, and that was it. It was all over.
It was okay. Yeah, it was okay. My car's got a horrible habit of jumping out of gear, so it keeps letting me down a bit. But to be fair, I did thrash the pants off of it today, so it did hold together. But the starts have actually been my problem all year. I've been on pole several times and ended up 5th or 4th into the first corner. So actually it's not been too bad at all.
Hold my hands up and say it was a schoolboy error, but I was really driving the wheels off the thing to stay ahead of Stuart, and we were having a lot of oversteer everywhere and front tyres going, and to be honest I was trying my luck everywhere, and pretty much every single lap I was running on the grasscrete outside of Redgate, and that lap it just bit me and spat me around, but it's one of those things.
Darren, many congratulations, a double here this weekend, so you must favour Donington.
Yeah, it's my favourite track and my local track. I live in Micklehove, so I'm only 10 miles down the road. First double, yeah, happy with that, and now I've jumped him into the leader championship by 2 points, so it's all going to the last meeting at Donington Park, which will be interesting.
Mike, many congratulations, 2 second place finishes this weekend, are you happy with that?
Well, I'm happy with it, it's still good points, but obviously I'd prefer to win, but can't win them all.
Did you think you could challenge for the win?
Well, I reckon lap times between me and Daz very similar, but with the Class A traffic, we ended up getting separated, and we were just doing very similar lap times with about a 5-second gap between us on the road, and I never got a chance to actually have a race with him. So, if I got a chance to have a race with him, I could have won, but I never got up there.
It's about consolidating the position then, isn't it? When you know that if there's traffic in the way, you're not going to get through.
Yeah, I was pushing really hard to stay with him. I think I was slightly catching him today, but I still wasn't going to catch him by the end of the race, so I did the sensible thing, backed off, kept it on track and got 12 points instead of none.
So just 2 races to go, and how's it looking in the championship? And in Class A, Volkard leads the way, but Ken Lark is still very much in touch. Stuart Lyons, Richard Morgan, super scrap for 3rd in prospect. Likewise, Class B, it is far from settled. Mike Smith, a slender advantage from Darren Bedford, with Rob Allen looking to fight to consolidate 3rd.
Don't go away, because we've got more race action for you with the Dunlop Golf Mark II GTI Championship after the break.